The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
A woman is set on fire, then robbed by the same culprit. We have the story coming up for you. Residents weigh in on the proposed new hospital in a town meeting last night. And soon, no liquor will be sold out of cages, windows, or takeouts. I'll tell you more coming up. And a light political moment today when Andrew Blue Johnson issues a fitness challenge to others who too are seeking to be elected. It's all straight ahead this evening. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. A Grand Bahama woman is recovering in hospital tonight after she was doused with a flammable substance, set on fire, and robbed outside a business on the island. Royal Bahamas Police Force Press Liaison Officer for the Northern Bahamas, Superintendent Stephen Roll, spoke with Eyewitness News about the incident.
Short time later, during the officers' vigilance, they were arrested a 39-year-old male who was presently in custody at this time and was assisting with this investigation. It actually was a restaurant and bar. However, it was not in operation at present. So you have persons just hanging there. But why they were there at that hour of the night, like I said, it's under investigation. While at that location, she was having a conversation with an unknown male, when she was approached by a second unknown male. An argument started between both of them. And during the argument, she'd have thrown some liquid on the male that she was arguing with, which is believed to be rubbing alcohol. And in return, it caused a struggle between her and the male. The male eventually overpowered her, was able to take that liquid from her, sort of throw the liquid on the female, and then set her fire. He would have made good escape on her feet. She was examined by EMT, and she was transported to the RAN, where she received her treatment and is currently listed in stable condition.
Now, authorities note that a suspect is in custody and they are doing their best to comb the area for details and speak with persons who can assist them in bringing justice to the victim. We're going to get in right there this evening because it's quite unbelievable, a story that took place. Thankfully, the woman is on the mend and obviously her burns not serious to the point of the news being worse than this. But let's just get into it because we have a discussion a little bit later in tonight's show about the Department of Inland Revenue that is sort of zeroing in and introducing new regulations as it relates to the sale of liquor. And so this obviously is going to be addressed nationwide, and where places are operating as business establishments and selling liquor, that's now will be outside of regulations. But let's just talk about what took place in Grand Bahama and how this woman is lucky to be alive. But just people, again, not measuring their responses and obviously putting others' safety at risk as well. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. Tonight's contributors: Gabrielle McKenzie-Anius, Michael Turnquest, and Howard Johnson. Good evening to all of you. It's good to have you all tuned in. Welcome to the show.
Good evening, Shanique, and good evening, Bahamas. It is good to be here.
Gentlemen.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, 242.
Hey, that's I just mix it up, Howard. Just mix it up. You know what I mean? Just mix it up. I know you all heard that story of what took place in Grand Bahama. Michael, you and I discussed earlier, and we've been talking about the sale of liquor and where it's showing up. This place was not in business. yet people had gathered there, and it appeared very late into the night when this happened. Let's just talk about the fact that we cannot see. Now, according to the reports, the woman knew either man she was speaking with. And she then, obviously, when things got a bit hostile with the second individual, she, according to the police, threw rubbing alcohol on him, and that is when it went haywire. Gabrielle, I want to start with you and the fact that this woman really took, she took, it was a risk she took, and perhaps not the smartest move.
Shanique, I'm sitting here perplexed as I listen to this story, because why were they gathered outside of an operation that was not supposed to be open late in the evening, hanging out, drinking? And then what also made me further perplexed was, where did she get rubbing alcohol from?
So late into the night.
To dash, or was it liquor? Was it drinking alcohol? Or was
No, rubbing alcohol.
It was rubbing alcohol.
The police said that, yes.
To douse on someone. And that's the thing. I literally was talking to someone today saying, for every action, there is a reaction. And sometimes the reaction isn't what you expect. Everyone's temper isn't in check. Everyone isn't going to take the high road. Some people are going to react out of emotion. And obviously, for that gentleman, it was putting a torch to her, which is very unfortunate. She is lucky to be alive, and it's unfortunate on both parts.
Howard and Michael, you know, more and more we are seeing women who are just very aggressive, and not that women should not be in a position to defend themselves, but this certainly could have been a whole lot worse for this lady.
Actually, it's unfortunate that, it goes back to where we can't settle disputes through a conversation, or, just being adults and trying to talk things through. And, things like this happen in, arguments or, disagreements, and I'm always, and I've seen, year by year, I see females becoming more aggressive. They seem to be sometimes the aggressor in a lot of situations, and I run an establishment, a few establishments, where I've seen this over and over, where I'm having more issues with that being, I guess, the females that are now attending, whether it be socials or wherever there is, it's more incidents are happening. And you ask police, and I think on record they would show now we're having more incidents with females either trying to fight males or females. I think anything where, liquor is involved, it seems as though now females are not being able to handle, hold the liquor and carry themselves in a way that we once knew some decades ago. And, it's unfortunate, but, I guess it's, in the times they say, times are changing. This is the times that we live in. But, it's an unfortunate situation for both of them.
Yeah.
Shanique, I think that this is a case, I wouldn't look at the sex or the gender of whoever. I think this is just across the board, the continuous devaluing of human life in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I mean, when we look at a nation that is only less than maybe 400 or 500,000 people versus some of the bigger countries where we hear about, heinous and vicious crimes taking place against persons.
Yes.
When we look at these things happening in Grand Bahama, when I first heard about this, I thought it was in Nassau, and it's in Grand Bahama. Things like this has happened in my beloved Eleuthera, shootings and murders, and it's just the devaluing of human life. And it proliferates as the years go by, and it's getting worse and worse. People try to play politics into it or whatever, but it's our Bahamas for all of us, no matter what your political affiliation is. And these things happening represents the devaluing of human life. And I believe that social media and the way that social media is now injected into us devaluing each other is causing these things to happen more and more. And it's very sad and it's very unfortunate. And we just have to figure out ways, like Michael said, to resolve our conflicts amicably, not get into conflicts in the first place, and just learn strategies on how to avoid them.
Howard, exactly. Howard and Michael, knowing that walking away doesn't make you look, it shoots. It certainly keeps you away from any issue, as this woman is now sort of having to deal with. Yeah. So again, but it is good news, though. She is on the mend, according to the police. But it just unable to resolve conflicts, unable to respond as perhaps we as adults should be able to respond. Meanwhile, the government is preparing to build a new state-of-the-art hospital here in New Providence on New Providence Highway, expanding some 50 acres. It is priced at $285.25 million. Now, residents are arguing that flooding could be a major concern and noise and traffic pollution could be at an all-time high as a result. These and more concerns were expressed last night at a town hall meeting hosted regarding the project. Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Michael Darville, after hearing the concerns, emphasized to residents that the proposed facility would lift a burden off of operations at the Princess Margaret Hospital and helping to solve long-lasting and standing issues.
And we are moving progressively for the completion of this process while we finalize all of the financial ramifications associated with the construction. There is a drive for every country in the world for pandemic preparedness. It's not if we're going to have another pandemic, it's a matter of when. And because we need to ensure that we do not find ourselves in the same position we were in the COVID-19 pandemic, it's important for us to develop tertiary healthcare facilities that are able to function simultaneously with infectious diseases. The Princess Margaret Hospital is one of those hospitals that cannot function simultaneously with infectious disease because it's a Florence Nightingale type system.
Outlined critical areas, and the flooding was the #1 critical area of concern, and we have experienced it. I think that this is a bad idea. We should go back to the drawing board on it. Everybody know there's a canal that runs through Fort Charlotte. The canal that brings the water right back to the same wells field where you put in this hospital. That wells field is a natural drainage area for the entire community. And you put it on top of the hill, between the hill, down the hill. It is a problem.
And so there you have it, of course, that second voice you heard, and the person you saw was Fort Charlotte candidate. Travis Robinson, who basically stated that, listen, Fort Charlotte is not in support of the new hospital being built. Now, you all, a major concern, I guess, there's a number of things. The people said noise pollution and just overcrowding and traffic, but flooding. Last week on this show, the Minister of Works, Clay Sweeting, talked about new legislation and new ways of construction and new development that almost mandates that there is room for flooding and drainage, rather, to alleviate and mitigate flooding on any new construction and new development moving forward, especially after years and years and years of flooding in certain areas across New Providence. And so I imagine that hospital will obviously have to have something built in as well, or underneath, to be able to accommodate flooding and have the water just disperse as it normally does. Your thoughts, though, about the fact that this town meeting happened, and not the first one, by the way, not the first one, but this town meeting took place last night, and residents are insisting that, listen, this is not what they want, of course, led by Travis Robinson there.
Actually, this is one that has been ongoing now for almost I think a year. And when this idea first arose, right, there's a few things. The flooding is one thing, and putting in new legislation, we look at all around the roads in Nassau. We have all of the proper drains in place, but when there's no maintenance in terms of making sure those drains are properly blown every so often to make sure water, when it does rain, water is flowing, it's going in the right direction. There's no sense in putting legislation in place, because all around the Bahamas, all around in New Providence, we have drainage everywhere, but it's never maintained. This is one thing we know that governments after governments, they never take care of whatever they so-called put in the ground. Infrastructure is there, but there's no maintenance of the infrastructure. As relates to the hospital, they can put in all the drainage in the world. You can see all of it by Paul Track, the drainage, the Ministry of Works the other day was working on, that they had to unclog in order to allow all that water to come out to go into the seabed after we had the tropical depression that went through. It was all due to, they could have alleviated a lot of this, the depression if they had went ahead and did the proper maintenance through the year in ensuring that these drains are unclogged. But you also have to look at the environmental impact study of this particular project, which I understood, and I'm only just speaking based on what I've heard, was that when the environmental impact study was initially done on this particular site to house this new hospital, it did not pass the environmental impact study. This is why this has taken so long to kick off from when construction should have started almost a year ago. So I think we need to don't just look at drainage and other things, but look at what other impacts it's going to have on the environment for that area. Why is it that they've been stalling on this particular project for so long? I mean, either they didn't have money or it didn't pass the environmental impact assessment study that they did initially. I don't know if they went back to the drawing board and made some tweaks to what it is that they're doing. But I think, that's the bigger picture that needs to be looked at on this particular project. How is this going to affect environmentally? Flooding is one thing, but there's other effects that you can have when you look at hazard material, waste material going into how they're disposing of certain things. All of these things you have to look at, because you're putting this right in a central area that nobody knows what's going to happen around them.
Yeah. For me, Shanique, it begs the question. The first question I have is, how did this particular site where this hospital is slated to be done, how did that hold up during the tropical storm that passed through the other day? I don't know if there's anything on the site at the moment, if it's just vacant land, if there's pre-construction stuff being done, but what was the impact to this property during the tropical storm and after the tropical storm was over? That's the first thing. And then to tie into what Michael said, is this ground, is this area elevated, right? Does it have the right bedrock for construction? I know environmental assessment studies had to have been done. Mike said that they would not have passed the first
That's what
test. But right, that's what he
that
heard.
That is what Michael heard. I didn't hear it, so I just want to put that out there.
But how are
to say that
it's not confirmed. How are they going to mitigate all of these risks associated with whatever that environmental impact study produced as its outcome, right? And then finally, Shanique, number 3 for me is this hospital that's going to be built. Are we separating emergency services and putting emergency services here, as well as keeping some at the old hospital? So now what we're doing is we're splitting congestion, we're splitting traffic problems, we're splitting where people have to go and traverse. There's still growth and population growth and development that's out there in that area that's going on, that's going to be where the hospital is going to be. So now we have 2 sites, 2 areas where it's going to be congested. There's going to be problems. I mean, we need to consider just building a new hospital based on what Dr. Darville said. Let's build a new hospital at a site that is fitting.
Where are we getting the money from that from, though?
Well, it's necessary. The thing, wait, Gabrielle, it's one host. Always keep that in mind. One. We're going to take a break because we're not done with this topic. We're going to take a break, and I'll tell you what many of you had to say, and then Gabrielle will weigh in. But one thing for sure, we all know this. We need another medical facility, that's for sure. And
Absolutely.
So however it comes in, because there are many in just South Florida alone, and they make it happen. And so the Bahamas needs an additional one, public hospital. This is Beyond the Headlines. I will tell you what many of you had to say online today. We're back right after this.
This National Heroes Day, Grand Bahama Tiles is celebrating our nation's builders, our contractors. For one day only, enjoy 20% off store-wide at our contractors only sale. Select, save, and build with tiles, tools, and materials. Everything you need to get the job done now at unbeatable savings. Don't miss it this Thursday, October 9th, one day only. Grand Bahama Tiles, building with you, building for you. This National Heroes Day, elevate your home with timeless beauty from Grand Bahama Tiles. For 2 days only, Friday, October 10th and Saturday, October 11th, enjoy 20% off store-wide. Discover elegant porcelain, timeless ceramic, and durable natural stone, perfect for every area of your home. Celebrate savings that last a lifetime, only at Grand Bahama Tiles.
Welcome to Blissful Escapes, where luxury meets affordability. Whether you're seeking relief from aches and pains or simply looking to indulge in some well-deserved pampering, relax and detox in our infrared sauna. Enjoy a soothing Swedish massage or an invigorating exfoliating body scrub. We also provide advanced facial treatments using cutting-edge technology, including hydrofacial, microneedling, and microcurrent therapies, located at the shops of Cable Beach Plaza.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Call now to get more of the care you need.
Squad and Zone 4 present Keisha Cole performing live Saturday, October 11th at Nassau's Cruise Port. Keisha Cole performing live at the Nassau Cruise Port. $75 general admission, and log on DonJulioEvents.com for more information about VIP, table service, and skybox. Keisha Cole, October 11th, Nassau Cruise Port. Security strictly enforced. Keisha Cole performing live at Nassau Cruise Port.
Ever feel like you're missing your own life because you're constantly running off to the bathroom? Do bladder leaks or pelvic discomfort have you up at night and affect your confidence in everyday life? Those days are over. At Frequency Vitality Center, we offer a solution. Completely painless, fully clothed with no downtime. Perfect for men and women of any age, we help strengthen the pelvic floor muscles while you sit comfortably, improving bladder control, decreasing night waking, and much more. Strengthen your foundation and restore your confidence.
I feel good when you're wrapped up in my arms, dancing to a reggae song. Feel good, feel good. I feel good, 'cause your perfume isn't loud, and only I can talk about. Feel good, feel good. You feel like velvet rubbing over my skin, and when your
Sting Junkanoo Group is celebrating 25 years of music, and you're invited to the greatest show ever, counting down the years, performing hit song after hit song. Stevie S, Colin McDonald, KB, Dyson Knight, and D-Mac. Saturday, November 1st at the Farm Marshall Road, 8 p.m. until. Tickets can be purchased online at www.bahamaseattickets.com for your skybox or to be a food vendor. Call 424-6433, 477-0191. Sponsored by ZNS, Island Luck TV, The Farm, Gatorade Today and Co. Limited, Krista Minute, and Associates.
This National Heroes Day, Grand Bahama Tiles is celebrating our nation's builders, our contractors. For one day only, enjoy 20% off store-wide at our contractors only sale. Select, save, and build with tiles, tools, and materials. Everything you need to get the job done now at unbeatable savings. Don't miss it this Thursday, October 9th, one day only. Grand Bahama Tiles, building with you, building for you. This National Heroes Day, elevate your home with timeless beauty from Grand Bahama Tiles. For 2 days only, Friday, October 10th and Saturday, October 11th, enjoy 20% off store-wide. Discover elegant porcelain, timeless ceramic, and durable natural stone, perfect for every area of your home. Celebrate savings that last a lifetime, only at Grand Bahama Tiles.
Beyond the Headlines is now introducing powerful TV advertising opportunities made just for you. Choose our television ad package, 20 30-second ads for $2,000 or 20 60-second ads for $2,500 plus VAT. Prefer flexibility? Go a la carte. Just $150 for a 30-second ad or $200 for a 60-second ad. Step into the spotlight with our interview package. 1 15-minute interview for $500, or 4 for $15 per month. Or bring Beyond the Headlines directly to you with our live on location package, only $2,600 plus VAT. For more information, contact our sales agent at 242-466-6173.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Still on the proposal for that new hospital, we took to social media asking for your opinion on the government's plan to construct this specialty hospital, which, of course, as you have seen, just even there, has been met with optimism and outrage. Well, here's how you voted today. 48% of you voted to move forward with the building of the new hospital. 43% voted to reassess the project's location before proceeding. And about 8% of you voted to scrap the project entirely. Now, of course, we will continue to do our daily polls and follow this as it develops. But one thing for sure, everybody can agree about this. Well, I'll tell you, look like more votes came in just a moment ago. In fact, those votes came in. Thank you very much, Justin and Carlisle. I think I saw 52% says to move forward. 40% says reconsider the location, and 8% still maintaining says to scrap the project. Gabrielle, your thoughts?
The thing about it is residents will have their say, but governments will have their way. Yes, undoubtedly, we need another hospital. We need a new hospital. But when you say that residents have to fund more than 95% of the bill, Bahamians have to fund that, more than 95% of the bill, location is important. Will this building be able to not only be built, right? That's the first thing. Will it be able to be built? But will we be able to get insurance on it? Just after that tropical depression, to echo the sentiments of our panelists, there was massive flooding. Everything was underwater. Can you imagine building a $285 million hospital only to find out within a year a Hurricane Shanika hits, God forbid, and the hospital underwater and we don't have insurance? We've seen a number of government buildings from burning down to just God knows what happening, vandalism, have no insurance coverage, because from the inception, they were not qualified to be covered. Building it in somewhere where the environmental studies has already shown is a flood-prone zone, insurance companies will not insure that investment. Is that a gamble that the Bahamian people are willing to take on this? So yes, we need it. But I am with that 40% when they say, let's find another location, let's find something where when we put these millions of dollars into it, our investment is secured, Shanique.
Well, I'll tell you this, we don't know for sure. Let us just not create hype and hysteria. We do not know if the site that is proposed for this new nearly $300 million hospital was underwater during last week's tropical depression and subsequent flooding in New Providence. We have no idea. Now, the site is elevated, and I imagine Dr. Darville and his team and engineers and the rest of it have the greatest amount of sense to know that they must further elevate and build the property up in order to keep that property as it needs to be, a hub of emergency and healthcare and medical assistance. And so we're going to have to wait and see exactly what happens, how it proceeds, and of course ask questions along the way. But to go and make statements in terms of is it insurable or was it flooded? None of us knew. None of us took the time to go and get it. And I have, and thank you all so much for participating this evening. I have several people who are in the insurance industry and other areas saying it was not flooded. It's an elevated space already. And so, of course, we will see. Here's a comment. This is Banana Republic mentality. We complain about PMH. Now we are discussing a proposed additional hospital from a negative perspective. The discussion requires research with factual information, not uninformed opinions. And again, I love your participation. Keep it coming. Keep your thoughts and views and opinions coming, because I'll tell you this, we know for sure PMH needs assistance. PMH has been doing the heavy lift, and PMH cannot at all absorb any additional load or burden. And so whatever can help alleviate that in terms of a new facility so that it does what it does, then authorities turn around and kind of assess PMH to see what can happen there. Isn't that what we all want? Don't we all want options?
Yes, that's
I have to
definitely
move on,
what
guys. As you know, we started extremely late, and it's already 8:41, and I want to get to more things tonight. Louis Georges, an independent consultant, is pushing back against growing public criticism. Let's move, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Growing public criticism of migrants, insisting there is no immigration crisis in the Bahamas, and warning that Haitians should not be vilified for simply seeking a better way of life. Now, Luby, let's hear the story and then we can come back.
Oh, gosh.
As national debates continue surrounding an uptick in illegal migration to the Bahamas, with civil unrest continuing in Haiti following gang takeovers, independent consultant Louis George pushes back against critics who deem the social ill a, quote, immigration crisis. Speaking on the sidelines at the Progressive Liberal Party's South Central link-up, George tells Eyewitness News from his perspective and, quote, recent repatriation statistics, a false narrative is looming.
Migrants are taking over and this thing and the next, but we don't understand that the majority of these persons are legal residents of the Bahamas.
Recently, Abaco resident and Pastor Silbert Mills heavily criticized illegal migration on the island, asserting that from his view, Bahamians could eventually be outnumbered. Well, to that, George explains the benefits Haitian nationals bring to the table, describing them as economic migrants helping to modernize Abaco.
They have jobs. They're contributing to the economy of Abaco. Abaco was decimated by Hurricane Dorian. It had to rebuild.
But should the blame be placed on those seeking a better lifestyle and opportunities?
You don't claim that you have a need to fill a particular position, then I don't think they'll be able to come and to work. Somebody is hiring them.
As political organizations such as the Opposition Free National Movement and third-party Coalition of Independents call for stricter immigration laws, George says he stands with policies for law and order.
If persons are there undocumented, arrest, charge, bring before the courts, and deport.
Department of Immigration officials on the island of Abaco reaffirming their commitment to following protocols, noting apprehension operations remain underway. Linton Ritchie Jr., Eyewitness News.
And so there you have it right there, right? There's what's happening. Luby is saying, listen, these people are in search of a better way of life. They should not be penalized for that. He says they are contributing, though, to the overall economy and development and way of Bahamian life. Now, we know that is not entirely true, and that's why many people have the issue. For example, the shanty towns, there is the illegal immigration element of this whole discussion, Gabrielle. And that is the thing, not the ones who are here legally, and even that must be done in a controlled and measured way in the Bahamas. Every nation has an element of immigrants and migrants, migrants making contribution to those various nations and their economy and their way of life. What we are saying, though, is the legal immigration population, primarily by Haitians, has become strenuous for the Bahamian economy and the Bahamian way of life, particularly when you think about people who go and build communities without proper regulations and approvals, whereas Bahamians cannot do the same thing.
Mm-hmm. The second you start to build a wall in front of your house and you don't have a work permit, surely someone will be there to shut down your operation, no matter how much of a Bahamian you are. So Bahamians are just saying they're sick, they're tired, they're fed up. In one breath, this group is saying that there's no crisis. In another breath, in Bahamian communities, people are seeing the infiltration of persons who do not speak English. I think that's the number one red flag. There is no way that you've been residing in a place for years, came here legally, and one of the requirements is for you to be proficient when getting sworn in the English language, the language that is the language of our nation, and you can't even have a basic sentence and communicate with someone. Well, my mother was in the hospital recently. She was in the hospital, and there was a lady in there, and she could not speak an ounce of English. They had to call someone to communicate, to translate with what this lady was saying. So this is happening. This is not just people imagining it. A lot of persons don't want to come forward and say what they've seen, where these instances are happening to protect whomever it is they're protecting. But these aren't things that are being imagined, Shanique. It's a screen on our hospital system, a screen like we saw teachers saying on our education system, where there are people in the classroom that don't speak English, and you're asking the teachers now to differentiate instruction, where if I'm an English speaking teacher, in order to reach that child, I now have to learn that child's language. It's unfair to us.
Guys, jump in. Let's go. Let's move.
I've had the chance to at least I'm old enough to watch this immigration crisis. I don't go way back from Loftus Rokas when he told us, this is, if you don't take control of it, we'll lose our country. But we are now to the point where, we talk about the strain on the medical system. They put a big burden. And I have no issue with immigrants coming in. Yes, they have helped us build our country, but we have laws in place where persons, you come and you go back. Yes, you come, you help build. It's happened all around the world. Some stay, some have to go back. But we can't continue this trend, whereas though Louis Job, whatever his name is,
Georges,
where he thinks it's okay for just because we have a lot of Bahamians sitting right here in our own country who have financial strain and burdens on top of them, where they don't know where to go. They don't have the opportunity sometimes to just get off this rock and go to the United States, because either ICE will send you back or this, that, and the next. We don't have that opportunity. We have to stay here with the struggles and try to make it work. We just can't open our borders up to any country that says, hey, things rough on this side, we got to come and try, see what we could do here, and take away from Bahamians who are now sleeping in their cars, on the streets, sleeping wherever they could find, put roof over their head. But whenever Bahamian go and try to build a shanty town or build a house, someone comes and tear it down within a week. But we have had Haitians who've lived in the Bahamas for decades upon decades in shanty towns, and we have just allowed it to happen over and over, which has only kind of torn down what we so-called our beautiful Bahamas. And we have seen, I'm not saying our Bahamians are guilty for some of the things that we do too, in terms of garbage and littering and things of that sort, but we have to start taking control of it at some point, because it's already out of control. It's way out of control. It's almost to the point where it's very hard to reel it back in.
Shanique, I think my immersion into the Haitian community in the Bahamas is deeper than anyone else on this show tonight, all right? My grandmother is Haitian. My step-grandmother, who came from Haiti when she was 19 years old, is 86 years old in Eleuthera right now, was married to my grandfather for years. Louis Georges is friends with one of my aunts, one of the two children that my grandfather and my grandmother had in Eleuthera, one of the leaders in the Haitian Bahamian community in Eleuthera. So let me tell you, Louis is wrong. He is describing two worlds of Haitians in the Bahamas. On one hand, he is talking about the people who are there and talking about them making a contribution. And then he is using words like economic migrant and seeking a better life. And then he's saying most of them are in the Bahamas legally. That's not true. When I grew up in the Haitian community in Governor's Harbor, Eleuthera, the majority of those Haitians, very nice people, many employed by my grandfather, who's long dead now, working in his fields and on his farm. Many of them were illegals, and there are many illegals still there today. When you talk about Haitians seeking a better life, you're not talking about legal migrants. Because when people are seeking a better life and they are running away from nefarious and terrible conditions in their home countries, they're not going there on green cards. They're not going there with legal work permits, and they're jumping on boats and rafts or human trafficking vessels, and they're going wherever they feel like they can have a better life. So when you say seeking a better life, Luby, you are not talking about legal migrants who are in the Bahamas the right way, like my grandmother, who's 86 years old in Governor's Harbor, Eleuthera, and I love her to death. And she came to the Bahamas illegally. My grandmother came there illegally, and she stayed out of trouble. She regularized herself because she was married to my grandfather, and she raised law-abiding citizen children in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Not everybody that is a Haitian immigrant from Haiti in the Bahamas meets that criteria, Louis Georges.
No, they don't. And then he knows we're talking about what is still a very large illegal immigrant population that really is just posing too much of a burden on Bahamian taxpayers, on every sector of Bahamian society. Beyond the Headlines is back right after this. When we come back, we're going to look at this liquor situation. Yeah, that's coming up. Stay close.
My late husband, Tyrone Albury, had a passion for brewing beer at home. We found one of his recipes and we started on the stovetop with 1 gallon of beer. It was a hobby that turned into a passion project that turned completely out of control. We had to make a decision whether or not we were going to continue home brewing or open a brewery. So craft beer is basically brewing a very small batch of beer. Every individual batch of beer is going to be slightly different.
We're always trying to figure out what the next best beer is going to be.
Just the sheer amount of love and effort that goes into every brew. It's a science, really, to selecting the right grains and the hops, and then expanding on some of the normals.
Really, in the last couple of years, we've had a lot more of the locals that have found our location.
They realize that there is a fuller flavor beer out there, and we take pride in that. When we first started the concept of the brewery and we were looking for funding, it was the SBDC that we leaned on to help me push through at times when I wanted to give up, to tell me when I was making mistakes, and for that, I am grateful. So I would encourage all entrepreneurs, if you're looking for funding, mentorship, and encouragement to launch your new business idea, I would encourage you to contact the SBDC.
Are you ready to take the next step in growing your business? Check your eligibility for our guaranteed loan program at sbdcbahamas.com/GLP or call 461-7232 to learn more about how the SBDC can support your business.
So you want a space, but not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
Numbers, $1 million. Every 3 days, a number is revealed. Act fast, your million is waiting.
Crack that code when $1 million clear.
Crack the code before the last lock clicks shut. Get ready to join the winner's circle only at islandluck.com.
Crack the code and win $1 million.
National Heroes Day, Grand Bahama Tiles is celebrating our nation's builders, our contractors. For one day only, enjoy 20% off store-wide at our contractors only sale. Select, save, and build with tiles, tools, and materials. Everything you need to get the job done now at unbeatable savings. Don't miss it this Thursday, October 9th, one day only. Grand Bahama Tiles, building with you, building for you. This National Heroes Day, elevate your home with timeless beauty from Grand Bahama Tiles. For 2 days only, Friday, October 10th and Saturday, October 11th, enjoy 20% off store-wide. Discover elegant porcelain, timeless ceramic, and durable natural stone, perfect for every area of your home. Celebrate savings that last a lifetime, only at Grand Bahama Tiles.
Beyond the Headlines is now introducing powerful TV advertising opportunities made just for you. Choose our television ad package, 20 30-second ads for $2,000 or 20 60-second ads for $2,500 plus VAT. Prefer flexibility? Go a la carte. Just $150 for a 30-second ad or $200 for a 60-second ad. Step into the spotlight with our interview package. 1 15-minute interview for $500 or 4 for $15 per month. Or bring Beyond the Headlines directly to you with our live on location package, only $2,600 plus VAT. For more information, contact our sales agent at 242-466-6173.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Of course, we've discussed this topic several times on the show. Acting Controller at the Department of Inland Revenue, Shonda Strawn, is introducing a strict measures, in fact, a set of measures as to where liquor is sold, how it is sold, and more. The department says the goal is to modernize regulations while promoting more responsible business practices. The new liquor regulation standards are intentional, Strawn says. Right now, in some inner-city communities, alcohol is being sold from cages, through windows, takeout restaurants, and other means. The aim is to shut down those types of establishments, she said, or bring them in line with the new laws that will be coming on stream. Michael, I want to jump right to you, because this is something that you have absolutely addressed so many times on the show. We've talked about it. Your thoughts about this, and who is most guilty of littering the inner city with these liquor in sort of cages?
The opportunity to attend the Zoom meeting that they had on this topic, and the words that they use and they talk about cages and things of that sort, it seems as though they know exactly who they're talking about, right? But rather than going and tackling the problem, they want to go ahead and put other Bahamian businesses through the red tape of having to apply for this new liquor certificate. Because when you use the word like cages, we know who you using the cages and stuff.
Who using the cages, Michael? Michael who? You were not shy before.
Every Chinese restaurant, so-called takeaway, liquor store, you name it. They have cages. They open up all day, 7 days a week, whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, you want to make restaurants a restaurant and bar. You now make the hotels. This is almost like a new VAT, a new tax on the Bahamian people. Because at the end of the day, I'm gonna have to pay for this liquor certificate. I'm gonna have to now go and reapply for all the other certificates. That being the health, that being the fire, all of these things. I'm gonna have to go and repay for all of these, even though I'm in line.
Right, you are not in violation of any law. So, Ms. Strawn, if you know it's the Chinese, come on now. You know it's the Chinese selling liquor out of every cubby hole. Like, address that. Clean that up.
Most Bahamians can't get a takeaway, a takeaway, what you call it, a takeaway, takeout for a restaurant. Most Bahamians, you don't see hardly no Bahamians with a takeout restaurant / liquor store attached to it, pushing stuff through cages. I have not seen one. So please tell me, why are we? You have Kirkies. You got Kirkies who across from out by COB. He sells completely. He's a wholesale liquor store. He's not a takeaway where you come and get your chicken shack, snack, this, that, the next. We only have one segment of people that are doing this particular thing that they're referring to, but now everybody now has to suffer for it.
No,
And then
you can't brush the entire sort of sector by people who are in violation and introducing new destructive ways of littering the inner city with alcohol.
How are these people getting these licenses in the first place?
Yes, yes.
How are they? That's what inland. They need to do an investigation in terms of how are they getting it. Because I know one thing: I have to jump through hooplas and hoorays, whatever, to try and get my license when I apply for anything for the first time. But these guys, I mean, they open up. I mean, it seems
they didn't open up on the Lord's Day though.
They don't close. They open up every day, all day here to serve you.
Shanique, they on every street you could talk about. So my thing is, don't make me go through all this rigmarole, and this can come back to bite them, you know. This can really come back to bite them because the people.
Good idea, but I think misplaced inland revenue.
They need to go deal with their internal staff in terms of how are these people getting these, and then they talk about being closest to churches and schools and this, that, the next, right? You know, one thing I have to touch on, because it seems as though you go on Gladstone, on Marshall Road, there's a church every 5 feet going straight up Marshall Road. So my thing is, if we want to talk about organizing everything, we need to make sure we're well balanced as relates to everything in these communities. Because you can't have 50, 100 churches down one road, and then you tell people who want to open liquor stores or restaurants and bars that, hey, no, you can't be too close to this church. No, you need to also regulate the church.
Nassau needs to be zoned, and that has been discussed and addressed on this show. Nassau is not zoned. You can go and wake up tomorrow and say, okay, I can build several things right here next to each other, and it's done. Howard, jump in.
Yeah, Shanique, alcohol is the most destructive and pervasive drug that has led to the moral decay in the Bahamas. Let me say some words and tell me what society you thinking about, what time period you thinking about. Drunkenness, murder, violence, mayhem, and debauchery. Does that sound like the Bahamas in 2025? Yes, right? But let me tell you when that period with alcohol being the destructive drug really took place in the Bahamas, where the genesis of it is. A period in the Bahamas from 1706 to 1718, immediately preceding when Woodes Rogers came to the Bahamas, right? Expulsus, Paratus, Restitutio, Commercia, right? Now, what was that? Back then, from 1706 to 1718, 12 years, a 12-year period, right? Pirates ruled the Bahamas. It was known as the Republic of Pirates. And guess what was going on there? Debauchery, murder, violence, mayhem, and drunkenness. Now, what I want our people in the Bahamas to do, because we're a praying nation, right? And I told my mother this, who was a preacher down in Governor's Harbor. I told her this some years ago. We love to pray, and there's nothing wrong with praying. I want all of the preachers under the sound of my voice, because I in the spirit now, not the spirit. I in the spirit.
Go ahead.
What I want the preachers in the Bahamas under the sound of my voice to do is they need to reach back. Don't just pray for today, you know. Go back, because the spirit of Blackbeard and Charles Vane.
So you're saying there needs to be a repentance from the 1700s?
They need to pray away the spirit of sin and debauchery and drunkenness that was pervasive from 1706 to 1718, when no country's flag flew over the Bahamas. The Jolly Roger, the skull and bones flag flew over the Bahamas, and our preachers and our pastors and apostles, prophets, and everything else they like to call themselves these days, they need to pray that spirit away from that period of time and then come up to today.
I think you have a point. Gabrielle, your thoughts?
Well, I think if the people want the alcohol, they're definitely going to find it no matter where it is located. We saw that during the pandemic. You can't keep them out of their alcohol. If they have to stock up on month's supply to make sure that they have it, they will do that. My concern is how it affects law-abiding businesses like Michael. He's a business owner whose establishment I tend to enjoy going to. They have some of the best food, Shanique. How is this going to affect them? Like, how is this going to affect small businesses that are in compliance with this? Like you said, what are the economic impacts? Will they have to lay off staff because of these new licenses that they have to reapply for that they just got sorted out? How far does these backdate? I listened to Inland Revenue statement, and they also said that hotels are going to now also have to be re-regularized and go through the process. So can you imagine how frustrated these mega organizations are going to become, because they're going to say, we have
Yes.
invested millions of dollars into this economy. We're doing what we have to do. We serve alcohol indoors
Yes.
to our
Man,
patrons
listen,
who
man.
are indoors.
Listen,
That
no,
makes no
you're
sense.
go in the inner city and deal with this issue. Like, sweep that doorstep clean there. Do not try and make this a very broad thing just to say, oh, you're not kind of sort of highlighting any one particular people. Don't do that. Like, seriously, clean up where it needs to be cleaned up. Come on, nobody's going to fault you for that. After all, they're being very destructive in the communities that they're located in. And let's move on.
Astronomical.
What did you say, Michael?
The business license fees where they have now when you do the current and you do the future. That, I mean, these fees are already astronomical on Bahamian people. Now you're going to put a license certificate, a liquor certificate on top of that now. Every year at every bar, restaurant, hotel, liquor store, you name it, every year we need to have a license certificate reapply for that and a business license every year.
Yes, listen, we have to.
How much more you want to tax us?
Michael, we obviously will continue that discussion right there, because again, we know who have been, I mean, proliferating certain areas here in New Providence. Is one set of people, and so the thing is, deal with that. But gentlemen and lady, I want to just switch the temperature a little bit. We have to work a little politics in here. Some of it we had to leave out tonight, but how about this question for you? Is politics in the Bahamas evolving? Is there such a thing? I mean, can it happen? But guess what, guys? The serious question. This was Andrew Blue Johnson, the independent aspirant for Freetown today. You know Johnson, he went viral a few months ago and has been trending ever since. He issued a health and fitness challenge to a few people while jogging this morning. Take a quick listen.
Okay, Freetown. Good morning, good morning. Andrew Blue Johnson. It's Blue Heart Tuesday. Getting it together, getting fitness, getting everything healthy, get our blood flowing, get everything done in terms of exercising and taking care of your body. That's very important. I'm just going to put out a challenge. The three people to join me. It doesn't have to be on a Tuesday. We could do it on the weekend because I know everyone's schedule may be different. So I'm putting this challenge out to my brother from another mother, Robert Karen Dupuch. I need you to join me. My run, I normally run in the Eastern District on Yamacraw and Prince Charles. It's a 4.5 mile run. So you're number one. The second one is the FNM candidate for the Yamacraw constituency. Someone I regard as a good friend and good person, as Roy Johnson. You are on that list as well. And the third person, who I would see before running and exercising in this area, I don't know him at all, Mr. Clint Waston, General Manager of ZNS. I don't know if you're still in the eastern area, but you're the third person.
I saw that this morning and I thought it was so funny. I just had to kind of drop that in there. First of all, I don't know if you can get any of the, I'll tell you, Ellsworth and Robert laughed it off. They laughed. Hey, Howard, you jump in right here. They laughed.
Listen.
And I haven't heard the response from the other gentleman.
Shanique, of course, A. Johnson came up with something so refreshing and wonderful at a time when people are being so
tense,
disrespectful and disgusting to each other.
Yes.
And I believe that what Blue did here was so necessary to lower the political temperature in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, especially with the injection of this nasty social media that is taking over politics and being so negative in the last 3 to 4 election cycles. So kudos to Mr. Blue Johnson for doing this, for reaching across the political spectrum and saying, hey guys, you know, we are in a competition. We are fighting for the soul of the Bahamas, for the soul of constituencies. But at the end of the day, let's treat each other humanely and with respect. And we can be against each other for political reasons. But at the end of the day, we are all Bahamians. We all have to live there. And we all have to work together for a better Commonwealth.
Yeah. I thought it was quite refreshing to see, Michael.
You know, Shanique, and earlier when we were speaking about the young lady in Grand Bahama, and I thought about Andrew Blue in terms of, you know, him extending, you know, being able to, even though people from the different political divides coming together and being able to do things like this, whether it be a fun run, whether it be exercising, you know, we as Bahamians, we polarize politics.
Yes.
You know, but you have the leaders who sit amongst us
Yes. Absolutely. Gabrielle, I want you to weigh in real quickly.
Yeah, I think it was, I was surprised at the names he called. I didn't expect it. I thought we would have heard some of his actual competitors that he is buying.
You mean in the area?
In the area,
oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I thought he would have challenged a Lincoln Deal or Wayne Monroe to come and join him in there. But I think he's gonna have a lot of time to run, to keep running. I think he's gonna have a lot of free time on his hands there to keep running.
So listen, I before we wrap, and Gabrielle, I know exactly where you think you're going, but we'll see.
He's gonna have a lot of time to keep running.
One thing none of us did here tonight. See, this was all to be fun. We didn't discuss whether or not what his chances are.
Politics.
No, we
all
just
fun
not all fun and games. But I'll tell you this. But I'll tell you, you just don't know, because we saw how he showed up at the F&M rollout the last time. But we ain't talking about that. Guys, I need you all to let's help celebrate Justin. You all hear me row him out almost every night here on the show. Here's what he did yesterday. Justin was honored. He's a part of a production team that did a documentary on Hurricane Dorian. There he is with wife of the Prime Minister, Anne-Marie Davis, yesterday. Justin was dressed up. Everybody was like, Justin, but what happened? We didn't know you could have looked like this. But that was him yesterday, and even came to work like that just to flex. But here is that documentary where, I know, right? Where and it's playing at the Atlantis Theater. But get this, you all. This documentary has won awards all over the world. I'm talking from the United States to Europe to just, I think, even Africa. Wow. It has really been recognized. That
Justin, give me his autograph when I came in today. I need a signed copy of this. Come on, Justin, I need a signed copy of this production.
You can't talk to him, John. Listen, you can't talk to him. Again? Before, hey, Michael, before I could have doggone strong arm Justin. No, not since yesterday. No, he just thought
Shanique, I know. Shanique, you always have the pressure tall for Justin on your show. So manners and respect. I
have to respect him now. I have to respect him.
Justin is the only one to keep Shanique in line.
You be quiet, Michael. Don't let me call inland revenue for you, please.
You better bring all the business out now.
Don't let me call Miss Strawn for you and them Chinese.
Congratulations to Justin.
Yes, congratulations to you, Justin. Excellent work. I mean, he has won awards, and as you all can see, it's showing at the Atlantis Theater. So go there and support them. An excellent job to the entire team. Really, really amazing. I want to thank all of you.
Talented young men doing their thing.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Totally. I want to thank all of you this evening. It's been so awesome having, of course, Michael Turnquest, Howard Johnson, and right here next to me, Gabrielle McKinsey Aeneas join me this evening they always opinionated, always. God, listen, you can't stop them from talking. Jesus Lord, sometimes I have to fight to get a word in, but that's what I love, just hearing their opinions and thoughts. It reflects exactly what it is that you are thinking out there. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in this evening. It's been awesome having you along, and I look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening for the entire Beyond the Headlines team. I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.